Hello everybody, and just here and welcome back to Yofukashi no Uta Call of the Night, episode 11. If I'm not mistaken, it's the penultimate one. I think this series has 12 episodes, although I'm not entirely sure of that. Uh, Actually, how about I just check it? I should have done it earlier, but alas, I didn't. Yofukashi no Uta, 13 episodes. Hell yeah. That's second anime in a row that surprised me with the amount of episodes. Positively surprised me. I was sure Overlord season 4 is 12 episodes. No. Psych. It's 13, and same situation here. I fully believed it's 12 episodes, and no, we're getting one more. So it is not the penultimate episode quite yet. It's episode 11 instead. What's gonna happen? I don't know. In the last episode, what happened is the whole investigation in the maid cafe, right? Trying to find the person who was taking creep shots of one of the maids, and it turned out that person was the maid herself, because she had issues with self-esteem or something along those lines, right? She wanted to be desired and appreciated and stalked even, so she made up a stalker for herself to show others that, see, people like me, people are ready to go this far just to get my creep shots, see how popular I am. And a little bit for herself as well. Kou, of course, proved to be a great detective and figured things out very easily. It was a great episode. Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it thoroughly, but it very much was a break kind of an episode. What I mean by that is, we had kind of sort of the um, although I guess now this episode was a part of the line of helping each of the vampire girls in order. But the last episode, the Maid Cafe episode, was very light-hearted compared to the others. There were some sure psychological themes of not feeling appreciated, not even jealousy, but envy, those kinds of themes. But all things considered, much lighter tone than Stalker guy who was about to die and had those creepy obsessive tendencies, and that previous episode still gives me a little bit of chills, not gonna lie. Um, and it kind of seems like a calm before the storm, right? Like a chill episode that's kind of not even kind of, very detached from the others, from where we were kind of getting into the psychological themes and deeper things. And here is mostly just light-hearted episodes about the maid cafe, although I might be mistaken. So it could go either way. We could continue the theme of helping each of the vampire girls in order. And in today's episode, we're gonna help someone else. In the next episode, we're gonna help someone else. And that's how we're gonna do it. Episode 13 is gonna be the great climax where, I don't know, maybe Kou is gonna be turned into a vampire finally. Who knows? Or we could go for a little bit of a detour. Oh, it's raining outside. How cool. Or we could go for a little bit of a detour, meaning we can either go full light-hearted shenanigans, kind of like we were at the beginning, kind of go in that direction again, right? Light shenanigans, bit of dark psychological am I gonna die themes, blood, gore, and so on, and then back to light-hearted shenanigans. Or it could really be or it could really have been an episode of a break, and we're gonna go even deeper, even darker, even more bloody. We're gonna introduce, I don't know, vampire hunters or werewolves or rival vampires, or something like that, and we're gonna go really balls to the walls with the vampire theme. No more light-hearted shenanigans. Now we struggle for survival. Wouldn't surprise me. Genuinely, wouldn't surprise me if they went in that direction. But I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna. Yofukashi no Uta kinda seems to me like a slow burn. Maybe not entirely slow, but I'm assuming the anime still speeds up some things that took a little bit longer in the manga. I'm assuming manga is contains more like gag moments, funny moments, things like that. So I don't think they would jump us immediately into, hey, Kou, now we're gonna have to fight for survival and murder vampire hunters. Uh, I think they would rather ease us into that if that was the case. But I'm rambling. I'm rambling far too much. There's no need to ramble this much. I need to lower the volume a little bit because I see my mic is speaking. Okay, that should be better. Right, ultimately, I don't know what's gonna happen in today's episode, so we're gonna have to see that ourselves, and to do that, you're gonna need your subs, of course, so that you can sync up your own copy. I'm gonna need my sound because I want to hear the music by Creepy Nuts, and I'm also gonna have to ask you for your support on Patreon or Throne, links in the description down below. You can support the channel monetarily if you want and get access to like non-seasonal shows 1 week early, stuff like that. Or if you don't want to spend any money, share my content, spread the word, that also helps the channel a whole lot. And with all that out of the way, we can start watching episode 11 of Yofukashi no Uta, Call of the Night, in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, she invested in a proper bed. And a lamp? Damn. Cosplay. I see a police uniform, I see a kipao, or kipao, or how will we pronounce it? The Chinese dress. Okay, we're scouting for clients. Oh, that's a cool shot. Very noir. Tired person acquired. An artist, because I see the glove. Like drawing tablet glove. Cool duster. That's not how you get clients, my dude. Chatting ain't gonna cut it. Yes. Yes, it did. Lucky for you, she's a Shotakon. That's incredibly noir. I love what they're doing with the art style in some of the episodes. Like, Jesus. I don't think I've ever seen an anime that would make such a great use of color and lighting and lens effects. Like, sure, there are some anime that utilize lenses. There are some anime that utilize light a lot. C Cube being one example that's like super sparkly and super glowing, super neony. But I haven't seen any anime that would utilize all of those things in such a masterful way in a one neat little package. Their use of light, their use of color, their use of lens effects, their use of art style changes. Let's not forget about that. It's just mind blowing to me, genuinely. And if I'm not mistaken, it's the studio that created like Berserk 3D. And if so, then that's just mad. That's just absolutely bonkers. That they created such a piece of garbage and they created such a masterpiece. Is it truly the same studio? Or is it like a Theseus ship situation where everybody left after Berserk and it's just brand new people? Why do you look like you're trying to fondle her tits? With your... Yeah, she... Okay, so she is a Shotakon. Can you smoke in this cafe? Okay, just be out with it. That makes things... That makes things easy. Very much sketchy. The shape of the smoke, the framing it provides. And it's well past that. Probably nothing will happen because the business is led by a vampire with connections. And even if, then I mean, Nazuna still has her work as a maid. Okay, I already love her. I gotta say. Have you tried sleeping with someone else though? Okay. An artist? Mangaka? Or a vampire hunter? Oh, private detective. That I did not expect. She smokes a lot. Did someone go missing? Every day? Every night, rather. Whomst? Oh, it's this dude. Yeah, he got turned into a vampire and disappeared. The heartbeat sound. I take it as an invitation. What about the massage, though? He brought snacks, though. Okay. I love the little spin. How'd you get your hands on beer? Right, vending machines. They don't check your ID. Okay, so she didn't quite believe Kou. The static sound. Okay. I have a feeling it's gonna get interesting. Either we're gonna introduce the detective lady to the world of vampires, or... Uh, Ah, right. Visiting school at night, the classic pastime of Japanese youth. Oh? Is he a vampire already? That genuinely looked decently superhuman. Right. Skirt. True. I mean, yeah, there is like a lot of people from my high school and previous years that I lost contact with. And I mean, it's true for everybody, right? It's impossible to keep up with every single person you ever knew. Test of courage? So? Sure, if anime is to be believed, then yes, absolutely. I mean, you already broke into the school. What difference does it make that you also enter girls' toilet when everything's closed and there's nobody here? Mahiru? And the second one. Okay, all of the classic mysteries. Right? Okay, they're having a blast at least. That's what matters after all. Having fun. Vampires in the basement? Was he turned into a vampire? Probably. I mean, it is a valid question. Why would he be appearing at his employment place? Watch him be here. Yeah. And the art style change. And he is probably a vampire. Although I can see the fangs. A werewolf? A zombie? Probably not. A werewolf. I didn't pay attention. Is it full moon outside or not? A vampire. Okay. Nazuna? No Nazuna Ex Machina this time around. A vampire, you've seen them already. Yes. Yes, it is familiar, Kou. No shit. Okay, so he's been shutting himself here to resist the hunger or something. Yeah, maybe help him? Superhuman strength or just regular strength? Yeah, a vampire is what's going on. Did you really think there's like 5 of them in the entire city? Feral? A feral vampire. That's my assumption, at least. Not integrated into the vampire society. Yeah, listen to the salivating dude. Run. Nazuna? Oh, the detective lady. And it turns out she's a vampire hunter. Is that it? Yeah, the detective lady. I love how everything immediately turned noir with her in the scene. Just having fun. You guys should have run. Here comes the vein. And is her blood like toxic to vampires or something? Is that how she hunts vampires? Yeah. Okay, toxic blood. Haha, funny you ask that. Or maybe not toxic, just filled with nicotine. Yeah? Haha, funny you ask that. Stake to the heart now? Silver bullet or something? Who could it have been? One of the vampire ladies we know, probably. Although they don't seem much for trickery. What's that? Silver ring? So is silver deathly to vampires? Not sunlight, but silver. Hmm. And now sunlight has an effect. Sunlight didn't kill Nazuna though. So what gives? Does it have to be a combination? Single thing doesn't cut it. But if it's silver and sun, that works. If it's silver and garlic, that works. If it's garlic and sun, that works. Is that how it is? And a vampire hunter. Yeah. Yeah, haha. Funny you mentioned that. How does she know about Kou's dream? Vampires come in all shapes and sizes. I mean, sure. I'm assuming there's at least some distinction between like civilized vampires, like Nazuna, the Gyaru, and the other vampire ladies, and like feral vampires who were turned and just left to their own devices. There was nobody to like ease them into being a vampire. I'm assuming that's the deal here. Yeah, I genuinely think that's the deal. If you're if you become a vampire maybe willingly, or if whoever turns you into a vampire then eases you into that, explains what the fuck is going on, explains what's going on with you, explains how to handle it, right? Teaches you, mentors you, helps you get your first prey, right? Things like that. Then you turn out perfectly fine and civilized and able to mingle with society and like get blood with like maybe not non-invasive ways, but ways that don't hurt anybody. Like Nazuna, right? She causes the person to chill out and then sucks the blood out. Uh, but if you don't have that vampire, if you get bitten and then left to your own devices, that can turn bad. Because you have no clue what the fuck is going on, you have no clue how to handle it, you have nobody to ask because who the fuck is gonna believe you that you just turned into a vampire? You don't have the support system, you don't have the mentorship, so you follow your instinct. Your instinct is the only thing that can guide you. And you can be like that dude and like go against your instinct, try to restrain yourself, Or perhaps some vampires follow their instinct, and they go and hunt people indiscriminately, without even the intention of creating offspring, with the full intention to kill. I'm assuming that's the deal. So I guess I was correct in my assumption that the previous episode was a calm before the storm. Okay, but how about now we go through this episode again? Shall we? She was able to buy a bed. I see some foot massager, two foot massagers actually. Something reminiscent of a Hitachi wand, but not reminiscent enough to be banned in a PG whatever show. Yeah, proper bed. A lamp. She started furnishing. Oh no, it is just a Hitachi wand. Here it looked kind of like there was a cone at the end and there was no space between like the ending bit and the body. But no, it is just Hitachi wand. It's just a Hitachi wand. And yeah, at least now she can do her stuff properly. And that's a whole set of cosplay. What do we have here? I think there was a better shot at her wardrobe. Come on. Yeah, what do we have? I think the first one is the nurse outfit. The second, a nun, maybe. Third one, can't tell. Fourth one is a, what's it called? Serafuku, right? The sailor uniform. Then we have a gym uniform, police uniform, and a kipao. The Chinese dress. I don't know how to pronounce it properly, but the Chinese dress. All that's missing is like a school swimsuit, honestly. And yeah, she's upping the quality of the cuddle buddy business. Exactly. I love this change. We have the classic, like normal, usual purples and blues and pinks and whites of our like fun and bright and cheerful world of the night. And then you have this instantly switched. There's no more galaxies in the sky. There's no more stars. There's no more lights in the building's windows. It's just shadows. Very. It's not a fisheye lens. It's like a. No, it is a fisheye lens, kinda, sorta, or it's just a topology is skewed. I don't know, but the thing is like rounded. The walkway is rounded and not purely straight, and immediately browns, beiges, sepia. Everything's in sepia colors. Even Kou's tracksuit used to be gray, and if you would take a color picker here, it's no longer gray, it's brownish. Everything has that brown tinge. Whenever she appears, I'm assuming we're gonna see this change in color. And I already love that. Initially, I assumed she's an artist because the artist gloves, but then she has a trench coat. I guess maybe artists do like their trench coats. I don't know, I like trench coats. I have a couple. I remember how excited I was when I found like a classic old trench coat, like this style of a trench coat. It's like vomit green colored, kind of between green and beige. It's not beautiful color. It's old. I bought it second hand for like the equivalent of maybe $2. But I fucking loved it, and I used to wear it all the time. Now I have a proper black trench coat. It's nice as well, but I have a lot of sentiment for the vomit brown one. I love me some trench coats. And yeah, she's a chain smoker. Like literally, she keeps smoking one after another, without any sort of a break between smokes. This little glimmer of light. This glimmer of light is interesting because it adds fidelity to fidelity to the scene that kinda isn't here, right? Like, all things considered, the scene, the art is fairly plain. Just plain splotches of color. There's not really any texture. There isn't any super advanced shadows and highlights and whatnot. And then you have this little sparkle, and it's so detailed compared to everything else. And you also have some chromatic aberration in the top right corner. I'm glad I noticed that. I love chromatic aberration. It immediately creates the feeling that this scene is much more elaborate, much more complex than it actually is. And this like rounded walkway, I love it, and I love the smoke. I love the smoke trail. I think we see her in the OP, although where exactly I can't tell you. But I think I've seen her. Her silhouette, to be more precise. Yeah, I'm not gonna be looking for that. I've been looking around for people who look sleep deprived. Yeah. And she's a private investigator, essentially. Sure, detective, whatever. Detective is usually like a title of a police officer. A police officer is a detective. When it's someone's private business, it's usually called a private investigator, a PI, but it's essentially a detective, except not affiliated with the police. She looks for missing people, either mostly missing people that are connected to vampires, or most cases of missing people are connected to vampires, or it just so happens that some missing people are connected to vampires, so she just so happens to have acquired knowledge that helps her fight vampires. But in reality, like, overall, her main business is being a private investigator, is being a detective, and the fact that she knows how to fight vampires is a side effect. She's not. What I'm trying to say is, she's not a full-fledged, full-time vampire hunter. The same way, like, I don't know, a private investigator isn't a full-time dog fighter because they know how to fight off a dog that attacks them, right? Kinda in the same vein. She knows how to deal with a vampire, should that be needed, but she's not going out of her way to hunt vampires. Cool. That's what I wanted to say. Have you heard of Akihito Akiyama? Never heard of him. That little stutter. He very much did hear of him. He very much did see him. Interesting that he went missing. That's curious. Why would he stop contacting everybody, right? Like, we don't know all of the vampire rules, but I don't think one of the rules is that you have to abandon all of your loved ones and only mingle with vampires. I mean, Nazuna meets up with Kou, sure, with the ultimate goal of turning him into a vampire, right? But still, and if she didn't reveal the fact that she's a vampire, I don't think it would be much of an issue if they were just hanging around as friends. Nazuna had so many clients in her cuddle buddy business, right? And she sucked their blood, unbeknownst to them, And she didn't turn them all into her offspring. She didn't kill them all. They just didn't know she's a vampire, so they were let go, and that's not an issue. I'm assuming all the other vampires, when they're hungry, they just grab someone, suck out their blood, and don't reveal the fact that they're a vampire. And the dude just walks away none the wiser. And they don't turn him into their offspring, they don't suck them dry. They just let them walk because they don't know the secret, so why bother them, right? So I'm assuming that if Kou were to turn into a vampire eventually, he could still live at his parents. He could still have a relationship with them. He could still be friends with the blonde dude whose name eludes me. He doesn't know of the vampires, and if Kou never reveals that, their friendship is perfectly safe. So it's kind of weird that that one particular dude would just disappear. There doesn't seem to be a rule against it, so it had to have been his choice. But then again, why make this choice? He clearly has people that care about him enough to start a private investigation. Oh. If you don't mind older women, that is. Oh, I don't mind older women like you. I mean, she's not really looking old, is she? She's looking in her like she's in, I don't know, early 30s at the most. Late 20s, maybe. I wouldn't call her an older woman. Unless in the context of like older than him, then sure. Just kinda happens. I love how angry Nazuna is here. Her little stomping loop. And this is the best. She's so angry, she whirls in the air and dives under covers. No, not even. Doesn't dive under covers. Just bounces on the bed and lays down. Thankfully, Kou brought like 2 full bags of beer. That was a bigger catch than I thought. Yeah, so she knows that he knows of Akkun. But interesting that she mentioned the wish near the end. Kou didn't reveal his wish. So why would she know that? How would she know that? I don't know. That's her and that's Kou. Sitting here in the classroom. Right, they were in the classroom. Kind of a little bit of a foreshadowing, I guess. And yeah, we are back in our super cool, super colorful, super beautiful world. Okay, yeah, some stars are blinking in and out of existence. That's why I was stuck at this scene for a little while. Yeah, it's not just fully static. The galaxy is static, but there are some dots that are fading in and out. And yeah, they're visiting the school. This is interesting. That Kou jumped the gate without an issue. Because he doesn't seem like the athletic type, does he? And yet here is he's super fast. Like, he leaves a trail of wind in his wake. Then just casually jumps the full gate that's like around 2 meters tall, I'm assuming. From a little bit of a running start, just jumps the gate without a problem. And lands perfectly. That kinda feeds into my belief that Kou might already be a vampire. I don't know if that's true. Maybe he's just partially vampire. Maybe he got some vampire superpowers but isn't a full-blown vampire yet, or something like that. But his strength and agility do seem kinda sorta superhuman. So I'm left wondering. And of course, yeah, turn around because skirt. See, I appreciate it. They are very normal about it. Right? I'm gonna be jumping around, I'm wearing a skirt, could you turn around? They're not making a big deal out of it. They're not turning it into a fan service moment followed by a couple of slaps, right? They're not doing anything like that. They are just normal. They're behaving like normal humans. And in an anime about vampires, it's crazy that one of the most appealing things in an anime about vampires and supernatural people behaving like normal people is one of the biggest drives for me, honestly, and I love it. And yeah, if the timing didn't work out, we may have never gotten to meet up again. It really was just pure chance that they met up. Spooky stories. The mirror that doesn't show human reflections. I wonder if that mirror shows vampire reflections instead, because we know that vampires don't have reflections, but maybe vampires show up in this particular mirror. Or maybe whoever spread the rumor was a vampire and didn't know that, and their reflection didn't show up. Yeah, teacher went missing. Yoo-hoo, Japan, because we can't use Yahoo. Teacher missing. Unsolved mystery. I like how we are every so often add some accent of our like known colors is added. The whole school is very blue, right? Even the sky is very blue. Probably because of the like mesh that's stretched here, and the sky is actually purple. You see like tinges of purple there, but it's just blue, and that like familiar purple of the night sky galaxies has kind of disappeared. But here it is. Our beloved purple. It's here. And here's our beloved purple again. Except this time it signifies danger. Or it signifies vampires. His art style completely changed. We've seen this art style multiple times already, and I love it every time we see it. Yeah, Kou kind of froze here. But then... grabbed the chair and just uppercut with a chair. Smack dab in the face. Knocked him unconscious for a while. We know that vampires are super resilient, right? One of them had her hand cut off and it just regrew. And this dude was knocked out for a good while. That's another bit towards my belief that Kou already has some supernatural powers. He's not a full vampire yet, but having his blood sucked this many times and regularly might have already given him some supernatural powers. That's my assumption. Yeah, the dude is out cold. He's not struggling, he's not moving. Only later wakes up. Vampires are all pretty and slick. The ones who are socialized, the ones who got help, the ones who were told that you have to be pretty and slick to get your share of blood in the easiest possible way that doesn't result in any like big drama. Right? The easiest way to keep your identity as a vampire and get your share of blood is have people fall in love with you so that they follow you to wherever you want them to go, and they trust you, and you can lure them into that sense of security and then put them to sleep, suck out their blood, and when they wake up, they're none the wiser. Right? That's what the parent vampire teaches the new vampire. That's what Nazuna would teach Ko. That's what the Gyaru would teach Akkun, or whatever his name was, right? That's what the Gyaru was taught by whoever was her ancestor. That's what Nazuna was taught by whoever was her ancestor. But when a vampire is left to their own devices, they don't know how to go about it. They only feel the thirst. They only know they're no longer human, and they feel the thirst for blood. And they follow their instinct. There's nobody to tell them there's a better way. And yeah, she enters the scene and everything immediately turns noir again. We had the purples, the blues, the blacks, and now grays, beiges, sepia. Just the flame has any semblance of a color. Neon blue. And the cinder on her cigarette. Okay, her blood apparently isn't particularly tasty. I'm assuming, I'm wondering if that's why she's a chain smoker. She wants to pack her blood so full of nicotine that no vampire will want to suck her blood. Could be like a preventative measure against vampires. Also, you can see how her entire neck is all bloodied, and how when Nazuna bites Kou, she barely leaves a mark. And other, like, socialized vampires, I'm gonna call them, leave just 2 marks, 2 scars, and nothing more. How they always bite into the same place and they don't leave a bloody mess. Because they were taught to do that, and they were taught how to do that. They were tamed. Tamed might not be the best word to use here, but they were educated. This dude acts purely on instinct. Feign, blood, bite, rip, drink. That's all that's going through his head, because he's feral. He was left to his own devices, turned into a vampire, and just left. And yeah, he fell in love with a woman like that, and that woman left him. That's the core of the issue. He was resisting the urge to suck blood, and apparently, if you as a vampire don't suck blood for 10 years, you just die. That's what I'm getting out of it. Which is interesting. We have a lot of time limits when it comes to vampires, right? If you get bitten by a vampire and don't fall in love with a vampire, don't get turned into a vampire in the span of a year, you will never get turned into a vampire. And if you are a vampire and don't drink blood for 10 years straight, then you die, then you cease to be. Interesting. Also, this bit, silver. Why is silver so detrimental to him? Silver and sunlight. Nazuna doesn't give a fuck about sunlight. It maybe weakens her, but like weakens her powers maybe or something. But she doesn't turn to ash. He did turn to ash. But it wasn't just sunlight, it was sunlight and silver. Maybe silver weakens vampires and makes them like prone to other means of disposing of them. Maybe silver is some sort of a catalyst, right? Normally, a vampire might not like garlic, but when they hold onto a silver coin and then they are fed garlic, they die. I don't know. Same with sunlight. Sunlight doesn't affect them, but silver and sunlight, they die. A stake through the heart maybe doesn't even kill them, but silver and stake does. It would kind of check out, kinda, sorta. The reason we know that in this world, in this universe, vampires don't show up in mirrors. In legends, vampires don't show up in mirrors for the simple reason that back in the days, mirrors were made with silver. That was the reflective surface, and on top of that silver, there was a pane of glass. Nowadays, silver is fairly expensive, so it's very rarely used. Mostly, I believe, mostly like aluminium is used nowadays for making mirrors. Aluminium or maybe chrome. I think it's mostly aluminium. So modern mirrors would be able to actually reflect vampires because they are not made of silver. But it kind of would make sense if we forget about the detail that mirrors nowadays aren't made of silver anymore. Then silver does seem to be special in this universe, in this world. Silver seems to be the one singular thing that actually follows how the legends are told. That silver is detrimental to vampires. I have a feeling it might actually be the catalyst. Daybreak comes. Yeah, he turns human briefly, and as soon as he turns human, he also turns to dust. Smile on his face, and I'm assuming he's mouthing out arigato or something like that. And yeah, he died as a human being. Interesting. My job is to investigate cases from clients and report back to them. The cause can be related to vampires, so she knows how to deal with vampires. You said that vampire guy was supposed to die today anyway, yeah. And yeah, we have a conflict of beliefs here. We have a big, huge conflict of beliefs. Kou wants to be a vampire because his only experience with vampires is with the socialized ones. She hates vampires and thinks of them all as monsters because her only experience is with feral vampires. I'm assuming that's the deal here. I'm assuming that's the dissonance. That maybe if she were to, I don't know, sit down at a maid cafe and talk shit with Nazuna and the other girls, she maybe would have changed her mind a little. Probably not. She seems to be very, very hardcore about her beliefs. I wonder what's gonna happen when they eventually clash. Not if. That's not an if. Make no mistake. That's a when. That's a when. Because so far we had a very idealized view of vampires, right? All of them are pretty much just regular humans, a little prettier than usual and kinda immortal. They have supernatural powers and super strength, and the only other difference is that they drink blood, but they don't even like kill people when they drink blood. They just drink their fill and let them go, so it's not even that big of a deal. And they enjoy the night, they earn money, they're having fun, right? It's cool to be a vampire, isn't it? Vampires are fun. But here we see the other side of the coin. When a vampire is turned and not socialized, not taught, left to their own devices, they turn feral. And they are monsters. Nazuna isn't a monster. The Gyaru isn't a monster. None of the other girls are monsters. But there are monster vampires out there. It's not all peachy. I wanted to say for a moment that it's kind of like nature versus nurture, but I'm not sure that applies. A vampire, although maybe kinda, when a vampire follows their nature, they turn into a monster, but they can be nurtured into being civil and socialized. Struggled all this time not even knowing what he had become. Yeah, that's an oversight on the part of whoever turned him. Or maybe not an oversight, maybe just a case of not giving a fuck. I got some blood, I'm no longer hungry, that's it, I'm gonna discard that human. He fell in love with me, oh well, tough shit, shouldn't have. That kind of approach. Wouldn't surprise me if there were some actual, I don't know how else to put it, but vampire supremacists who believe that humans are essentially cattle. All the girls that we've met so far, all the vampires we've met so far, want to be a part of society, want to socialize, they want to go for a karaoke, they want to go to a maid cafe, but perhaps there are ones who genuinely look at humans like cattle. That could be like the two factions of vampires that clash in the end. Actually, I have this notebook for a reason. Let's see. Ruby Overlord. Symphogear. Yofukashi no Uta. Faction of vampires who look at humans as cattle. And another thing I wanted to note down is feral or feral, whatever. Feral vampires versus civil ones. That's gonna be interesting. You know nothing about vampires. Well, he knows a lot about vampires, but not the kind of vampires that she's been dealing with. I'm sorry, but I have no intention of letting you achieve your idiotic dream. How does she know of his dream, though? That's what I want to know. I don't think he disclosed that to her. I still know nothing about vampires. Yeah, basically. I have to go back. But I don't think he said anything about wanting to become a vampire. Yeah, just soliciting customers for a cuddle buddy business. Part-time job. Yeah, talking about the law. Special reason. Did he mention that here? No. Just learn from it and become more careful next time. Massage? I generally investigate infidelity or interpersonal issues. Infidelity because someone fell in love with a vampire? Possibly. Yeah, he doesn't say anything about his dream. So why does she know that? He doesn't mention his dream any time during this whole episode, so it's not like she could have been listening in. Has she been like observing Nazuna and the other vampires and listened in at some different occasion? If I rewatch this series, am I gonna notice her stalking around somewhere in the background? Is that what we're doing? That she's been here since episode 1? Hmm. I've got nothing. No idea. No clue. Genuinely. Yeah, that was episode 11. And shit's hitting the funnel, right? I was fully expecting that we're gonna see fully fledged vampire hunters sometime in the future. That perhaps Akira is a vampire hunter or a daughter of a vampire hunter or something like that. I don't know. But I didn't expect. This? What I mean is, I kinda expected the vampire hunters to be in the wrong right from the get go, right? I expected a situation where we are here to cheer for the vampires because the vampire hunters appear and they are essentially just prejudiced against the vampires. They know nothing about them, they just believe all of the vampires are monsters and they cannot be left to live. And no, they're just, I don't know, they're just lying to you. They're trying to obfuscate the truth. You shouldn't trust the vampire. Yada, 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 the usual drivel. But we got something very different. We got a bucket of cold water washing down the rose tinted glasses, washing them away from our faces. That the view of vampires we've been getting so far has been very idealized. And that not every vampire is like Nazuna. That not every vampire has been brought to the society and socialized. That some vampires are just left to their own devices. And they turn feral. And they are genuine monsters. And they just follow their instinct because they have nothing else to follow. But that also implies one other thing. The thing that I mentioned, that there are vampires who don't give a fuck about creating monsters. We know that Nazuna and her buddies are all like up to the code, right? You shouldn't drink a human unless you intend to. No. When you divulge the information about being a vampire, then you should turn them into offspring or kill them, and a bunch of other rules. But there seem to be vampires that just don't give a fuck. That just turn whoever into their offspring and leave them to their own devices. When the vampires notice, when they caught wind of Kou potentially being an offspring to Nazuna, not even that, they didn't even know that yet. They knew that Kou knew of the vampires. They brought him in and they offered, hey, one of you is gonna turn you into a vampire because we want you to survive. They didn't like throw him away and disregard him and kill him immediately. Although that would have been the easiest solution, let's face it. So there has to be another faction of vampires. Or perhaps some, maybe not even a faction, but a bunch of loose cannons, essentially, going around living their life, afterlife to the fullest, and not caring about any rules, not caring about the consequences of their actions, because they are untouchable, they are vampires, they are immortal and whatnot. I think that's the case. And also, as I said, that I thought it's gonna be a situation where we are supposed to side with the vampires and shun the vampire hunters. I don't think that's the. in this episode, it didn't look that way. Because we can't really shun the detective lady, right? We can't say that she's evil and she's prejudiced against vampires, because the only vampires she had to deal with were either feral vampires or vampires who don't give a fuck, who just kidnap people and kill them, or kidnap people, turn them, and leave them to their own devices. She knew exactly what this dude is going through, because it wasn't the first case of a feral vampire. So of course she would have an unfavorable image of vampires as a whole, because it's the feral vampires and the vampires who don't give a fuck, that put themselves out there, who are easily noticeable, and she's able to easily notice them. Nazuna and the others, they're hiding. They're maybe not hiding, but they are. How should I say it? What should I call it? They're camouflaging. If you meet Nazuna somewhere on the street as she's going for a beer, you wouldn't say she's a vampire. Okay, maybe with her like weird hair and her weird dress, sure, but any of the others, right? The Gyaru girl going around at night. I mean, she's just a high school Gyaru girl who's walking out at night. It's not that uncommon. You would pay her no mind. So it would stand to reason that the detective lady might not even know of the socialized vampires, or has a very limited knowledge of them. She just knows that they exist, maybe somewhere lurking in the shadows, but she doesn't know that them and whoever turns people into feral vampires are two different groups. So you can't say she's in the wrong. You can't shun her. And all the same, you can't say Kou is in the wrong, and you can't shun him. Experiences form opinions. And they both had such massively different experiences with vampires that their opinions of vampires are also massively different. I think I'm coming down with a flu. That was an amazing episode. Genuinely. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've been repeating it time and again, but I love how they use color and lighting. I'm in awe. I'm in absolute awe. It's the first time I see anime use that. I love everything about this series, and if we don't get a notice about second season within like 3 months after the finale airs, I'm just gonna start reading the manga, or I'm gonna ask you guys which chapters of the manga did this season cover, and I'm gonna read up to that point or something. I don't know, because I need more. I want more. I want vampires. I want more vampires. I want to feel the call of the night more and more. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it. I don't think I have anything more to say on the topic. But maybe you do. And if so, let me know down in the comments below what did you think of this episode, of my reaction, my theories. No spoilers, please, I beg of you. The manga is way ahead of the anime, so don't tell me what's been happening in the manga. Unless there's some things that the anime skipped or did differently, then I'm gonna leave clarification at your own discretion. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases of not only Yofukashi no Uta, but also Ruby, Ice Queendom, Symphogear. We're gonna be watching the concert next week, so tune in for that, for a live stream. Also, Overlord Season 4, Madoka Magica, Hataraku Mao-sama Season 2. I'm a little bit behind on that, but I'm gonna record it very soon. And whatever comes next. I also play some games sometimes. I sometimes stream although I don't have much time for that recently because I found a new job. Yeah. And if you want to support the channel monetarily, so that maybe I don't need a job, maybe I can make YouTube my job sometime in the distant future, you can help me achieve that dream by supporting me on Patreon. Our Throne, links in the description. On Patreon for $10 a month to get early access to non-seasonals, like Madoka Magica, like Simfugir, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord server, and you also get a place in the credits. On Throne you can pitch in towards my purchase of a proper camera, better lighting, stuff like that. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever and still support the channel, share my content, spread the word, it really does help a lot. And you can also join my Discord server, link here also in the description. There's Yofukashi no channel there if you want, and you can talk spoilers there to your heart's content. And with all of that out of the way, I think that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's the list of Patreons that are supporting my channel, and you can be one of them if only you so want.